Yo 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 yo, what's going on, people? What's happening? How we doing? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Yes, how we in this thing? I remember when Desmond Trufant played here, we used to say Happy Tuesday, but he's no longer here, of course. So we're just back to Happy Tuesday. We need to find a player on the current roster we can incorporate their name into a Tuesday. When Matt played here, we used to have Matt Ryan Mondays on the Atlanta Bird game. So we got to get back to that. And a lot of that too was we were kind of winning in that era. So us as fans, we were a lot more receptive, to little cheesy things like that. But that's no longer the case. Yeah, y'all welcome in, man. Speaking of cheesy, I'm gonna say something about that. Before I do that, let me thank everybody for coming in. I am Toddy. I'm gonna be your host for today, of course. Do your dog a big favor, dog. Do your dog a huge favor. Just smash that like button for your dog, man. That's the easiest and one of the most effective ways that you can support the channel, by hitting that like button. And that way it helps us, jump in this all important YouTube algorithm. So thank you very much in advance. Speaking of cheesy, there has been one thing that I have noticed about the Falcons. Well, I've noticed a lot of things about our fan base during my time of being a fan, but lately, these last few years, speaking of cheesy, like there has been a how can I say this? There has been a loud campaign to get rid of the slogan "Rise Up." Speaking of cheesy, and honestly, I didn't even plan to talk about this, but I used the word cheesy, and this topic just flashed in my mind, so I'm gonna speak on it real quick. But yeah, there has been and it seems like it gets louder every year. Hey man, we need to get rid of Rise Up. We don't never rise up, so we need to get rid of Rise Up, man. It's so corny, it's so cheesy. Let me say this, man. When you are losing like we losing, everything is cheesy. Everything sounds cheesy. Rise Up is cheesy. Dirty Birds get a little cheesy. But that's how it goes when you losing. When you losing, man, you trying to find any and everything that you can conceivably think of to pinpoint what's wrong with the franchise, and slogans and things like that gets thrown out there. Even jerseys. I'm seeing on Twitter now, man, it's like they got, for y'all that on Twitter, I'm sure it comes across your timeline too, because if you heavy in tune into the Falcons on Twitter, then of course the Twitter algorithm goes send you a lot of Falcons content like it does me. Even on Twitter, man, everybody on Twitter trying to get the Falcons to change the jerseys. Some people on Twitter have convinced themselves that the Falcons will get new jerseys in the 2025 season, and which I certainly don't see. And I tell people on Twitter that all the time, like, bro, we just got new jerseys. You think they're going to change them once again? Especially with a brand new quarterback, man. They're going to try to sell the latest edition of the Falcons jerseys with Michael Penix. So, the jerseys are the ugliest jerseys of all time. And, everybody on Twitter, oh, man, these jerseys are terrible. We need to change them. And you see all these mock jerseys come up. Oh, these look much better. Go back to the red helmets. Go back to the old school. But that's what it is when you're losing, bro. When you're losing, I can guarantee you the fan bases and the teams that are winning, Baltimore, Kansas City, Buffalo, they're not worried about jerseys right now. They could care less. Man, because they're winning games. That leads me back to Rise Up. When we were winning, nobody had time to put it in their mind frame that Rise Up was corny. because we were winning. 2016, 2017, the early stages of the Matt Ryan career from 2008 to 2012. Nobody cared about Rise Up because we were winning. And especially the 2016 season, man. Um in the early part of the Matt Ryan era, I remember, man, like people would say that with pride. You walk up, you could be in public, you see a stranger, they got a Falcons hat on, a Falcons jersey, rise up, rise up. That was a greeting. You happily would say that, when you saw somebody in some Falcons attire, or just in general, you say rise up with pride. Hey man, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up. And I guess like my marketing background, I'm always the guy to fight against that. Honestly, I don't really care about slogans, to be totally honest with you. I'm not a person that regularly uses Rise Up. Not saying I never ever use it, but I'm not a person that just regularly use it. I'm a 40-year Falcons fan, so a large part of my life as a Falcons fan, Rise Up was not here. So it never really got embedded in my brain to use it a whole deal. But again, going back to my marketing background, I understand it's just marketing. It's branding. And that's all it is. I'm sure in every NFL team got one. The teams that are winning consistently, whatever their slogan is, hey man, they're loving it right now. The teams that are losing right now. Hey man, get rid of that. We can even go back to and I'm sure y'all remember the early Dan Quinn era in Brotherhood. Y'all remember that? Brotherhood. We get on social media and we all hashtag it. Brotherhood, in Brotherhood, in Brotherhood, in Brotherhood. Brotherhood. It sounded so cool, and it seemed like subconsciously it was helping the team win and bond together. So everybody was on the in Brotherhood train. But after we lost that Super Bowl and we kept losing after that, man, us fans, all right, man, the Brotherhood is dead. Stop saying that. It's dead. The Brotherhood is dead. It's dead. That's just because we losing. And that's what happens. Like when you're losing, man, you get frustrated quick when it comes to your team, and everything the team is doing is bad, and it's a bad idea. But I just felt the need to touch on that since I mentioned cheesy. But I'm here to tell y'all, man, I don't know any kind of insider info, but in my opinion, from where I see things, Rise Up is not going anywhere anytime soon. The Falcons have made, I'm sure, tens of millions of dollars on that slogan. You know what I mean? So, everybody who hates it and thinks it's corny, you might as well get used to it, because it's not going anywhere anytime soon, man. They got it plastered all around their multi-billion-dollar stadium. It's incorporated everywhere in the team store. That's their slogan. That's their slogan. When we had our Carolina Panthers brothers on the show on the Waffle House Sunday night, and I'm sure to some of them, keep pounding sounds terrible. I'm sure to some of them it sounds corny and sounds lame, but I guarantee you, in 2015, when they were winning, they were going to Super Bowl, and when Cam was dabbing, I'm sure that shit sounded wonderful to them. I'm sure everybody, hey man, keep pounding. But that's just like, I guess my little rant for today. What we gonna talk about today, because I didn't plan on talking about that once again. But we're gonna do our end of the season player grades today. Come here and do the player grades, and we're gonna see how we thought our team did. So we're gonna give everybody, well, not everybody, we're gonna give certain players a grade, and we'll discuss their performance individually. We'll discuss the team's performance. The main topic of conversation, as you see on the caption, are the Atlanta Falcons about to trade Kyle Pitts and Grady Jarrett? We'll talk about that quickly also. And then we're also going to talk about the defensive coordinator head coaching search. The Falcons announced that they've interviewed Wink Martindale. They formally announced that on their social media. And also I hope I say his name right, but Lou Anarumo. I think his interview is scheduled on Thursday. So those are the two guys that have been interviewed or about to be interviewed. So we'll discuss that as well. Before we go to the defensive coordinators, let's talk about the main topic. Are the Falcons about to trade Grady Jarrett and Kyle Pitts? You know, we're gonna see a major roster. Well, I shouldn't say major, but a significant roster reconstruction of some sort. Well, we talked about that a little bit also on the Waffle House on Sunday night. Shout out to Uncle Steve. Also, y'all make sure that y'all check out Uncle Steve here on YouTube. I saw him and Big Low. They did a show, I think, Monday Minutia show. So yesterday, they spoke on it also as well. So let's start there. Let's start with Kyle Pitts. I think at this point, even the biggest Kyle Pitts supporter would probably agree that he definitely has not been what we hoped he would be, drafting him fourth overall in the NFL draft. You draft a guy fourth, you really expect that guy to be a franchise changer, you know, somebody that changes the franchise. And fortunately for us, we just have not seen that in Kyle Pitts thus far. Now, I'm going to start off and give y'all my opinion on Kyle Pitts. Of course, I have no say so on what the Falcons are going to do. You know, whatever they do, they do. And I have learned during my time as a fan of them, roll with the punches. That's all you can do. Me personally, my mind could change over time. You know, I'm really torn, but I think I'm more in favor of keeping him right now today as I do this show. I think I'm more in favor of keeping him. Again, we've already invested a fourth overall draft pick for him. We picked up the fifth year option. So maybe Michael Penix can be his Matt Ryan, you know, because Kyle's rookie year with Matt Ryan, you know, he had a great rookie season. Pro Bowl. He was voted in by his NFL peers as a top 100 player in the league. So, man, that rookie year looked like, hey, man, Falcons made a good draft choice. This kid gonna be an absolute stud player. And since the Matt Ryan year with Kyle, it has been trending downward. This year, I won't say he played bad because I don't think he played bad, but I think overall it was another underwhelming year for Kyle Pitts when you consider he was drafted fourth overall, especially when we had Jono Smith in the building under contract for another year. You see him go. I don't remember his stats, but it was a lot better than Kyle. I think he might have ended up with like 80 catches, maybe about 900 yards. Again, I don't remember his stats totally, but he had a banner year. And he's definitely a better blocker than Kyle Pitts. So, you know, you kind of pinch yourself in the arm a little bit and say, damn, man, we probably should have just held on to Jono Smith. And, you know, we're not paying him a whole lot of money. I think he only accounted for about $6 million of a cap hit. And Kyle's fifth year option is essentially $11 million for his fifth year option. But I'm getting a little bit off track, but let me reel myself back in. I would keep him, and maybe Michael Penix can recreate some of that Matt Ryan, Kyle Pitts magic that we saw in Kyle Pitts rookie year. And that's me being hopeful because, you know, we've already drafted him. We've already invested the fourth overall pick in him. So at this point, I'm a little bit more on the side of, man, let's just keep him, and maybe him and Penix can be the down south Mahomes and Kelsey. You know, that's me trying to be positive about it. Maybe that can happen, you know, and if it doesn't happen in year 5, then you just let him walk in free agency. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I really want Penix to be set up for the most success that he can have, similar to when Matt Ryan came to the league. Matt Ryan, of course, he did win Rookie of the Year, and not taking anything away from Matt because he did great for us as a rookie. If I'm grading him on a rookie scale, he did great. rookie of the year. Um, Very first pass was a touchdown, so we got off on the right foot. 11-5, we went into the playoffs, and we were a damn tough out in the playoffs. We came just like one play away from advancing. I think we played the Cardinals and Larry Fitzgerald that year, if I remember correctly. But a lot of Matt Ryan's success was due to the front office setting him up to be successful. You brought Michael Turner in here. You signed him to a big free agent contract. You got him from the Chargers, and he came in here immediately, and he was a smash hit. Set a franchise rushing record in his very first game in Atlanta against Detroit. If memory serves me correctly, he had 220 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, if memory serves me correctly. And Turner pretty much, carried the load, for the first few years until it was time to give the keys totally to Matt Ryan. And of course, you had Roddy White in the fold, and you eventually brought Tony Gonzalez in the very next year. So Matt didn't have to do a lot of heavy lifting. He got the chance to for lack of better words, be a rookie. And I want the same for Michael Penix. I don't want to put too much on his shoulders in his very first year starting. I want him set up for success. I want him to have familiar pass catching options, that he's had a chance to build a bond with and build some chemistry with. So that's why I'm a little bit mostly on the keep Kyle Pitts side. I'm not fully sold on that. Like I say, man, I might wake up tomorrow and my mom might say, hey, man, we probably need to trade Kyle and get that money, say that salary cap. But again, I want Penix set up for success. You're already gonna be bringing Mooney back. You're gonna be bringing Drake back. You're gonna be bringing Bijan back. And see, Bijan can kind of be the Michael Turner for a few years. Bijan can be Michael Penix's. It's kind of tough for me to say. Michael Penix's Penix. Michael Turner, you lean on Bijan a lot, and try to keep Penix responsibility down to as minimal as possible as you possibly can. And then you also have some pass catching options out there for him, like Drake, like Mooney, and also like Kyle Pitts. So that's kind of why I'm on the I'm more on the keep Kyle Pitts train. Now on the flip side, there's a great argument to be made also to, go ahead and bid adieu to Kyle and trade him away. I know in Terry's last press conference, he shifted blame to the Falcons themselves. Like, we got to do a better job of getting Kyle Pitts involved. And I'm paraphrasing here. He also shifted some blame to Kyle Pitts. Hey, Kyle Pitts got to do a better job of getting himself involved and being a viable option that the quarterbacks can trust. Because I'm not gonna sit up here and act ignorant to the obvious. You had a multitude of quarterbacks come here, minus Matt Ryan, the most recent Michael Penix, and also Kirk Cousins, and both of these quarterbacks are kind of like shy and throwing Kyle the ball. A lot of that could be due to the fact that they don't fully trust him like they trust Drake or like they trust Mooney. Because even when Penix came in, you still didn't see Kyle involved in the offense as much as we would like him to be. And also some of that could be due to the fact that Penix could be far down on the progression totem pole. He could be the third or fourth breed on most throws. As we look at the games and we review films, a lot of times Kyle is a flash out option in the flats, a check down option, so it could be a combination of things. And it was also hard to ignore the fact that as the season progressed, Kyle Pitts snaps drastically decreased. That was glaring. There were actually quite a few games late in the season that Warner played more snaps than Pitts. So, you know, being fully transparent, a lot of times when you see stuff like that, that means a team or an offensive coordinator, they're slowly phasing this guy out of the offense for a reason. Lack of production, could be locker room issues, and going back to locker room production, that could be like, hey, we're probably gonna get ready to move away from this guy, so let's slowly phase him out of the offense. I'm not making a comparison to players, I'm making a comparison to situations. We saw that when Mr. Kyle Shanahan came in, and you saw Roddy White slowly get phased out of the offense, slowly, and it was obvious, like, hey, Roddy ain't getting the targets anymore that he once was getting, and a lot of that was due in part to, hey, you got Julio Jones here now, man. This guy's a stud. He's a freak athlete. And I remember, and again, I'm paraphrasing here, but I do remember when Kyle Shanahan was asked about this in the media, and he said something to the he said, I'm trying to remember the exact quote, which I can't, but he pretty much said, hey, if I can, I would throw the ball to Julio Jones every single play. I would throw the ball to him every single play. And back then, like, again, that's prime Julio, so I understood what Kyle Shanahan was saying, and I also understood that he was subtly saying, like, Roddy is just no longer a big part of the offense like he was before. I understand that he's a fan base favorite. A lot of the fans favorite all-time Falcon, like me. But Kyle was just saying, hey, we're phasing him out, and you kind of see the same with Kyle. Slowly phasing him out, and as we all know, Roddy Wright was released the following season, and he was released, I think, 2 years into a new contract. You remember Roddy had just signed a new deal like not very long before he got released. So they released him, and if I'm being honest, I do think it was for the best, because obviously the Falcons went to the Super Bowl. We won't say how it ended. We all know what happened on that dreaded Sunday in Houston, Texas. But the team did get better once Roddy was no longer on the team, of course. And I'm kind of saw that a little bit with Kyle this past season. Kind of saw the team phasing him out. He was the 4th overall draft pick, and amongst tight ends in the NFL, he had the 16th most targets in the league. The 16th most targets, and also I think it was the 16th most snaps at tight end also. So there's 32 starting tight ends traditionally in the NFL. I know some offenses may come out and they'll start the game with 2 tight ends or whatever, but just traditionally speaking, there are 32 starting tight ends, and he was right there in the middle of the pack. And that's not what you want from the 4th overall pick. That lets us know that he's really not a priority in the offense. You can go get a guy in the 3rd round or 4th round, or you can go get a free agent like we did with Jono Smith, pay him $4 or $5 million a year, and if you're gonna he's only gonna be ranked 16th overall in snaps, what's the use of paying him $11 million in 2025? So I'm trying to look at both sides of the argument here. If we do decide to trade Kyle Pitts, I'm sure they won't release him, they won't cut him, because another team will definitely give you something for him. Exactly what his market value is on the trading block, I'm really not sure, to be honest. But he would definitely get something. He's too young, and there's just too much untapped potential there for him not to be a viable trade option. So if he were traded here, the team would say right at about $11 million. And I got to be honest, even though I say we probably should keep him, you can't ignore the fact that you would save $11 million, especially for a team that's gonna be kind of fighting an upward battle to get some salary cap flexibility to sign free agents in 2025. So you can't ignore that. And another big factor about saving $11 million, because a lot of times in the NFL, a lot of times what could stop a potential deal is dead money. A lot of times that could stop potential deals as teams don't want to eat dead money. But it has to be said, if the Falcons trade him, guys, there's no dead money that we incur. Zero. There's nothing but a savings for us. If we trade him pre-June, there's no dead money. You save $11 million on the cap. If you trade him post-June, there's no dead money. You save $11 million on the cap. So this fifth-year option, the way the contract is set up with the fifth-year option, the Falcons do have a lot of leverage because there's no dead money. And no team really wants to eat dead money because it handicaps what they can do as far as their spending in free agency or signing guys to bigger contracts. But due to the fact there's absolutely no dead money, that makes the decision 100 times easier for Atlanta if they do decide to trade Kyle Pitts. So, y'all let me know in the comment section. Do you keep Kyle? Do you trade Kyle? Again, I don't know what he would garner on the market. I'm guessing. And, I do got to consider the fact he's only under contract for 1 more year. So a potential trade partner will look at that like, it's not like he's under contract for 2 or 3 more years. So if we trade for him, it could possibly be a 1-year rental for us. So that's going to devalue him definitely some. I'm guessing maybe a 3rd rounder, maybe. I don't see a 2nd rounder for him, but who knows? We did trade Mohamed Sanu for a 2nd rounder to Bill Belichick and the Patriots, so anything can happen. But I'm guessing around maybe a 3rd or 4th rounder for Kyle Pitts if he does get traded. That's what I'm guessing, But yeah, that's something right there to consider because we only have about $4 million projected going into 2025. So we could certainly use that $11 million without a shadow of a doubt. So y'all let me know what y'all think. You trade Kyle or you keep Kyle. If I had to lean on one side or the other, again, I would say, hey, keep him 1 more year. Let's see what happens with Michael Penix. But there's definitely a great debate to be said if you do trade him away. Let me see what y'all think here. King Atlanta supporters in the house. What's going on, man? Thank you for coming in as always. He says, keep Kyle Pitts. I believe Michael. Hold on, I lost your comment. I believe Michael will give him the ball. And that's from King Atlanta supporter. Jada, what's up, Jada? Says trade Kyle to get something out of him. So he says trade him. What's up, Art? Says if we trade Pitts, we better get at least a 3rd. I'm hoping we could get at least a 3rd. If the best we can get is like a 5th round or something, I'm just more amped. Hey, man, just go ahead and keep him, man. Let's see how it works. Clay Melton in the building. What's up, Clay? Says trade Kyle. We need picks, 3rd or 4th rounder. Jonathan says trade him. Mr. CDX for life. What's going on, man? Says Penix Glock 9. The starter though. Jada says I want Kyle Pitts gone. Dirty Don 704. What's up? Plus Penix was actually getting him in the ball. So who knows what can happen, what kind of chemistry they could have. And that's a great point. Ark says I said a 3rd or 4th, but now I'm like, we better get at least a 3rd. Ark says 4th ain't good enough. So Ark said, hey, if the only thing you can get is at least a 4th rounder, you might as well continue to roll with him. Which I can definitely see your point there. Rusty in the building. What's going on? Rusty says, see what we can get for him. We need the picks and can reset the contract if we move him and draft a rookie. And I don't want him running lazy, half-hearted routes on our young quarterback. That's a great point as well. You want guys going full effort, especially with a new QB. Raymond Collis, what's up, Toddy? What's going on, Raymond? We might have seen the last tiptoeing through the tulips route. Man, that's a pretty creative statement there, man. I like how you worded that, man. You sound like a rapper. Antoine Wartime in the building said, hey, man, keep him. Hey, keep him. Let's see, Dex for license running offense back with Penix as a starter. That's kind of where I'm at right now, too, man. You know, I'm hoping that if we do keep it, Michael Penix just can unlock that potential, because that's the crazy thing about Kyle, man. It's like when he's involved in the offense, you can see the talent, man. You can see the talent when he's involved, but when he is not involved, this is going kind of back to what Rusty just said, man. He ain't involved, man. It don't look like he's gonna always give you full effort. And that could be him becoming disengaged from the team because he's not involved in the offense, and he's basically just turned into a blocker. And he's not a blocking tight end, obviously. You know, he's not Mark Andrews, he's not Brock Bowers. You know, those guys can block and also get out there and run routes for you. Kyle is a receiving tight end, but I will give him credit. He's done marginally better job in 2024 blocking. So I do want to give him credit for that, because when we go back and watch the film, you know, sometimes I'll just key in on Kyle during blocking plays, and I got to give him credit, man. He does go out there and try to block. Not saying he is a good blocker, but I do see effort a lot of times with him blocking. So I won't say he's just going out there and dropping the ball as far as blocking goes. We got our favorite 20-year-old in the building, Tate 6 in the house. What's up, Tate? Just what's up, Tiny? I said keep him. That TD pass to Kyle versus Commanders, it's the chemistry growing. Yeah, man, that was and it's so dang frustrating that we lost that game. But man, that was like poetry in motion. You know, Kyle came out the block, you know, like he got shot out of cannon, and you saw Penix take his step back and he just threw a bullet, and Kyle caught a beautiful pass, man. That's actually one of our best plays of the year, even though we lost the game. But you make a great point, saying it's like, hey, man, you could possibly see a lot more of that in 2025, especially if these two guys have a full off season to work together, you know, hang out with each other, build some chemistry. You know, we could really have something special. And again, if you can just untap Kyle's potential, man, Kyle, Mooney, Drake London, man, that's a lot of options, man. That's some real good options. Then you got Bijan. Bijan's going to give you 50, 60 receptions out of the backfield every single year, you know, while he's in the prime of his athletic, you know, career. So I see what could possibly be there, but you just don't want another disappointing season, and then you lose out on the opportunity to trade him away for picks that we need. You miss the opportunity to garner some salary cap space, which we need as well. So it's really a major conundrum for me. That one Falcons fan in the building. What's going on with that one Falcons fan? Trading Pitts is likely to happen, but trading away damn near your best player on defense would do more harm than good. Grady is Mr. Atlanta. We have to give him a ring before he hangs it up. Man, I hope we can give him a ring before we hang it up. And, you know, with your comment there, that one Falcons fan, will segue into the Grady Jarrett part of the conversation as well. I'm going to read a few more comments about Kyle. Jada says, people saying keep Kyle is on drugs. He's going to want a big contract. His stats are good for a tight end. Clay says, we probably are in the extended Pitts, get something for him. I can see that. Millie Mills in the house. What's up, Millie? Says, man, F that. That's 6'6" soft MF of a buy, homie. So Miller said, hey, man, go ahead and trade this guy away. Save your money, get some draft picks for him, and move on. You know, just admit it was a bad pick, Atlanta. You know, cut your losses. TJ says Pitts is a buster. In my South Central LA voice, we need a real tight end for Penix. And I definitely understand where you're coming from with that as well. Dirty Dan says, those say you want Pitts gone, who are you replacing him with? Because these fans would be the same ones saying we need a tight end. That's a fair point. Very fair point. Arcs is when they're not even looking the man way or passing him the ball. Pitts like effort. That's why he's not putting forth all the effort lately. And I can see that also. And I know it's easy for us as fans to say, well, you're a professional. You're getting paid millions of dollars. You still got to go out there and play hard every single play. And that's on the surface, that's true. You got a job to do. You got to do it. And I think, of course, that's easier said than done too, because you need a rhythm. Sports is all about getting in a rhythm, and you want him. He wants to be in a rhythm. He wants to be involved in the offense, and I'm sure in the back of his mind, he's probably thinking, well, look, they're not going to involve me in the offense. I want to go somewhere where I'm going to be a focal point of the offense. With him being a 4th overall pick, he's supposed to be the focal point of the offense, but he's not. He's definitely not. David in the house. What's up, David? So trade Pitts. I want Mason Taylor from LSU. So David say, hey man, get the money, get the draft picks, and just draft another tight end and put him on a rookie contract. Art says they're not looking at passing him the ball. What's up, Bernard? Just keep him. Jay Coops says Pitts will have a ball with Penix. Keep him. Okay. Jada says get rid of Kyle. Mills says coming out, Isaiah Likely was compared to Pitts, and we all see who's the better player. That's Baltimore's tight end, right? Likely. Art says if I'm on a team and they not even looking my way or passing me the ball, I'm gonna say F it also. So it looks like we're kind of split. Jada says Isaiah Likely is better. Dirty Dan says Moss the same way. He said he didn't go full. He didn't give full effort when he wasn't getting the ball. But look how that turned out. And I'm sure you're speaking of Randy when he was on the Raiders. Yeah, and it was obvious. Randy was like, man, get me out of here. Somebody come rescue me. And if my timeline is correct, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady went and rescued him. And Randy broke the receiving touchdown record for a single season, right? And in New England, isn't that right, y'all? I'm getting a little old, but I think he set the touchdown record. Did he break? I think he broke Jerry Rice's record. Somebody let me know if that's true. But yeah, you saw how he was just a totally different player with New England. Art says now the blocking effort on Pitts, I can't stand up for him on that. Yeah, and he's gotten better. I'm not saying that he's a good blocking tight end. I'm not saying that at all, but he has gotten better. I do see some effort out there. He does try to block for Tyler and Bijan on running plays. So I do want to at least give him that credit. I do see him try to put forth some effort. Got our bro on the Mark in the middle. What's going on, Mark? How you doing today, bro? Says what's up, Tyler? I gotta get you some more background. Yeah, man. This is the signature background music, and I got some more, man, but I don't know. I just love this one, man. Maybe we'll switch it up next year. But I appreciate you coming through on the Mark, and y'all make sure to check out on the Mark here on YouTube as well. Definitely one of the best Falcons content creators on the platform. He's been doing it a long time. He's damn good at it. Appreciate you coming through, Mark. Jada says trade Kyle, he's useless. It seems like everybody who's coming is kind of torn. I think it's about 50-50, man. I didn't keep an official count in my head, but I'm seeing some people saying trade him. I'm seeing some people say keep him. So it looks like it's about 50-50, y'all. So let's continue that conversation. Georgia, Texas boy in the house. What's going on, man? Appreciate you coming in. Falcons fan forever says Kyle gotta go. Yeah, so hey man, it looks like this is kind of split. Rusty says Ra also mentioned in the past season presser about being excited to coach Michael Penix, Bijan, and Drake. Yeah, I remember he didn't say Kyle. Never mentioned Kyle Pitts. Take it for what it is. Yeah, I do remember that, and there was a little controversy surrounding that also. Zay in the bag in the building. What's going on, Zay? Man, I follow Zay on Twitter, man, and I gotta give Zay credit, man. He be repping hard on Twitter. He should be pissing them other fan bases off. I just be sitting back laughing my ass off, man. I saw him and his crew when the Falcons played in Washington. You know, they came in all Falcons attire, had the built big Falcons chain on, and they was repping like a motherfucker. So shout out to you, Zay. I definitely see you, bro. I definitely see you. Definitely see you. Um, let's see here. The check down in the building. What's going on, Steve? Steve from the check down. Y'all make sure to check out the check down here on YouTube. Speaking of excellent content creators, he is definitely an excellent content creator. I gotta admit though, Steve, man, we gotta get some more content, man. We missing your content in the YouTube streets, man. We need more content. Got to get a check down there. Credit for, in my opinion, probably having the best produced Falcons content. Man, he does a great job on the production side, and also, of course, on the commentary side as well. I just say the production because it's so top level, man. I wish I had the skills to produce my own content like that, but I don't. But he does, and man, he does a great job. Appreciate you coming in, man. But yeah, it seems like it's split. Seems like it's very split. Zay says drop a rise up in the chat. Yes, thank you, Zay. I do appreciate it. Check down says content on day. Okay, yes, love to hear that, man. That's a good thing because you do an excellent job. All right, so it sounds like we split on Kyle. So let's go to Mr. Grady Jarrett, y'all. And my bad, I meant to share the screen when we're looking at this. Let's click on Grady Jarrett, y'all, and let's review the situation with Grady. Of course, we drafted Grady. Again, I'm getting old, so y'all let me know if I say something that's not right. But we drafted Grady in the 5th round from Clemson. I think it was the 5th round, if memory serves me correctly. But we drafted him, and he's been a Falcon, of course, for his entire duration. But let's look at his contract situation as well. He only has 1 year left on his deal. I'm not going to even review the cut portion because I'm sure they're not going to release Grady. I don't see that happen. I don't see the benefit of releasing Grady. So let's go strictly to the trade portion. If we were to trade him pre-June, we only incur about $4 million dead cap, which is a life-changing money for me. Boy, give me $4 million. Whoa. But on the NFL scale, that's relatively low. It's close to peanuts, $4 million. So that won't hurt anything. And it's only 1 year, only 1 year. But as you see, we would save a little bit over $16 million, and that could really do a lot for us. Again, only having $4 million projected into 2025. Even if we go post June, it's still the same figure. $4 million dead cap, $16 million savings. Which is good if the Falcons decide they want to move away from Grady because they can do it pre-June. The early part of the new season, when it's more attractive to trader players. Before and that's the thing about a post-June trade. I think you lose leverage as a team that's trying to trade somebody, because if you're doing post-June, at that point in time, a lot of teams have kind of got the roster, situated for the most part. You've already, of course, went through free agency. You went through the draft. So a lot of these teams have made their big offseason decisions already, So that's why us being able to do pre-June and still have the same cap consequences is a bonus for us. If we do decide to trade Grady Jarrett, you still save $16 million overall on the cap, and it's only a $4 million dead cap hit. So with that said, y'all give me your opinions. Do you trade Grady, or do you keep him on the team? Now, I mentioned this on Steve's show, I think, or it was one of the recent shows. My opinion with Grady, I'm hoping, this is my personal hope with Grady. I'm hoping that they can do some kind of creative restructuring of his contract, or maybe he agrees to some type of creative pay cut. Maybe Arthur, promise him, some kind of position in the company, um, with the Falcons once he hang up the cleats, which I can definitely see happening. Because one thing, across Grady's his production has declined with age, but he's really been a staple for Atlanta. A lot of the guys that we have gotten in free agency, um, Grady was a part of the process. Grady is the guy that's going to the dinners with the guys, talking to the players, the Jesse Bates, even Justice Simmons. That's the guy that they're talking to. He's kind of that locker room leader. He's the guy that's going to dinner, doing the texting, doing the talking, like, yeah, Atlanta the place for you, Atlanta the place for you. And he's a strong locker room presence, and he's been a good professional for Atlanta for a very, very long time. He has represented that logo very, very well over the years. Has kept his nose clean, and been just a model Falcon for us, represented us very well. As most everybody knows, he's the son of a Falcons legend, Jesse Tuggle. He's a hometown guy. I think Grady is from the Metro Atlanta area, so it's been a good story for the franchise. But of course, the play has declined. His cap number is a little bit over $20 million. So needless to say, we could, save some nice dollars if we do release him. Now, I'm going to tell y'all my concern. This is my concern if we do trade Grady. We already have a defense that really doesn't have ideal talent on it. When you look at just from a talent perspective alone, just ignore coaching. But if you look at the talent on the defense, you look at the talent on the offense is way above the defense as far as a talent scale goes. There's a big gap right there. So I'm kind of apprehensive about letting, and again, he's not the same player that he was in 2016 and 2017, 2018, but because there is not a whole lot of just true talent on this defense, he is still one of the best players on the defense. And he is the best player on probably the weakest position on the defense. Well, I think linebacker might be weaker, but anyway, one of the best players on the D line. So I've wrestled with this in my mind, and I asked myself, like, are we really in a position to lose one of our best defenders? Are we really? Can this defense substantiate losing one of the best defenders, on the defense? And we already got a bad defense. That's something we're going to have to spend a lot of time, money, and resources in the offseason to try to put more talent on defense. So are we in a position where we can lose one of our best defenders? Yeah, we would save some money, but what would it do to what we're trying to accomplish on the field? So I've been wrestling with that, and that's why I said I'm hoping that we can find somewhere to bring that cap number down to make it a team-friendly deal for the Falcons and still keep him here and let him play out the final year of the contract and then go from there. But that's me being wishful thinking. That's not my money. That's Grady's money. And Grady, I'm sure they'll probably approach him with that, and Grady may say, hell no. Either you pay me or you trade me. So Grady might not. It's easy for me to sit here and count Grady's money and say, well, Grady, well, you should, take a pay cut, Grady. It's easy for me to say that, Hey, good luck telling me at my job to take a pay cut. I'm gonna say, man, are you crazy? So easy for me to say that, y'all. But what do you do with Grady? What do we do with Grady? So I want to know y'all's opinions on Grady Jarrett. Do you trade him And I don't know what his market is in the trade. I'm guessing with the amount of money he's being paid and his age, I think he's gonna be what 31, I think, next year. So what I'm guessing maybe a fourth or fifth rounder. I'm guessing, y'all know better than me. Guess he's around a fourth or fifth round range. So what do we do? Do we take whatever draft pick, the best draft offer that we get in terms of draft picks, move past Grady, save that $16 million and reinvest that money back into the team to build up the roster and probably get a lot younger? Do we trust Rook or Ruru at this point? I always butcher his last name, so I should just stick with Rook. So are we confident enough in Rook that he could step in and be on the same level or better as Grady? Or, as John Harris said, it could get worse. You could trade Grady, put Rook in as a full-time starter, and he's just not there yet. So you can lose out. So let me know what y'all think. Do we trade Grady, or hey, do you keep Grady? Let me know what y'all think. TG says trade Grady, get younger. Let's see. Ark says, I know one thing, Father Time is undefeated. You are definitely right about that, man. Coach, what's going on? Coach in the house says trade or release, but do not restructure or resign Grady. Great while he was here. Now time to move on. So Coach, hey man, hey, we appreciate you, big dog, but adios. It's time for you to go somewhere else and start on the second chapter or the next chapter of your career as an NFL player. Strapped Up says, let's bring in Wink as defensive coordinator. He has an aggressive blitz style. Art says, yeah, they check down and on the mark. Love y'all content on my birds. Yes, two great content creators there. Dirty Dan says, for Grady, what would you get for him at his age? I'm guessing around a fourth or fifth, man, but y'all gotta let me know. Like I said, y'all know better than I would on that. So let me know. Strapped Up said, they say Pickens might get released from the Steelers, man. Damn good dog, Pickens. Man, like Pickens is definitely talented without a doubt, but man, I gotta admit, I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan, and I spent many of Saturdays watching Pickens and following him as he came up the ranks from high school into college. I don't want to call him a head case because that's I think that's probably being disrespectful, but you're gonna have to deal with a lot if you bring George Pickens in your building, in your locker room. You're gonna have to deal with a lot. And to me, that's obvious. That's obvious if Pittsburgh drafted this talented receiver and they're already like Strapped Up and saying if they decide they're gonna release him, that means that the great Mike Tomlin, he's dealing with a lot. And if this is true that what Strapped Up is saying, that means he has gotten to the point as a tenured coach, a very well-respected coach, to the point is like, you know what, bro, you're not even worth the headache. You know what I mean? You're not Justin Jefferson, you're not Jamar Chase, but you acting like you are. So you know what? Let's release you, get you out of this locker room. You're causing more problems than you're worth. Let another locker room, let another coach, let another general manager deal with the headache that comes with you. So that's something to consider. No doubt about it. He's super talented, but you're going to deal with some stuff. You bring Pickens in your locker room, unless he just hits a point in his career or his life where he kind of, mentally matures a little bit, which might be the case. We traditionally all, mature with age. So we'll see. Art says Grady is a touchy subject. Yeah, it is, man. Because Grady has been here so long, man. When you think about the Falcons, that's one of the first players that you do think about. Millie says, I wouldn't mind keeping Grady, but if the team says F it, then F it. I just want to see young players get their shine, and old underperforming MFers be in the way sometimes. That's very true. That's very true. Sometimes you gotta let the young dogs run the yard. So I know exactly what you mean when you say that. TG says trade and get younger. 3 Dirty in the house. What's going on? 3, appreciate you coming in, brother. Hope you're having a good day. Art says I'm always for getting younger. Dirty Dance was paying Kirk killed us. We could have got Russ for 1.2 million and really built around a team if we was going to draft Penix. Yeah, that could have been a route that they decided to go, but I don't think that they were actually sure that Penix would have been there. And the thing about Russell Wilson, man, you don't know if Russell Wilson really truly wanted to come here. You know, Russell was able to pick where he wanted to go. And I'm gonna be honest, Dirty Dan, man, I love the Falcons, obviously, but if I had to choose, yeah, I probably would rather play with Pittsburgh in comparison to a team like Atlanta also. But I totally see what you're saying. You know, the point that you're making. Oh, says, why do you fans keep talking this restructure crap? Stop being player fans. It's time to get younger in the position, period. Time to move on. Coach, I think the reason people say it because sometimes guys like Grady who have especially if they want to be there, you know, especially if a player wants to be there and he's already made, you know, hey, Grady has made tons of money. You know, he's made tons of money. And once they've got to the point where they made that money, you know, and you know, maybe he's comfortable in that, you know, in Atlanta. Again, he's a hometown kid. Sometimes a player will say, you know what? Hey, I want to help the team. I want to stay here. Let me go ahead and take a pay cut, and that way I can stay with the team and also create more opportunities for the team financially. So that's why, you know, fans do talk about him taking a pay cut, because if he's willing to take a pay cut at a rate where it makes sense for both sides, where it makes sense for him, it makes sense for the Falcons, then to me, there's no reason to trade him at that point. Because Grady is not sorry, he's not trash. At this point, to me, Grady is an above average defensive tackle, you know, and that you're gonna always have a place for somebody like that who's above average defensive tackle. And again, he's a great locker room guy also. So you know, that's why people, you know, bring that up. But if he's not willing to take a pay cut, then that's a much easier, you know, discussion to be had. All right, so I get where you're coming from, Tyler, but at the same time, we're going to have to let go of Grady eventually anyway. Yeah, and this is the final year of his contract, regardless, you know, and that's why I say, you know, if he was willing to take some kind of payment reduction. Rusty says, see if Grady is willing to take a team-friendly deal and restructure him. Try to sell him on the idea of getting him more help. He ain't worth that $20 million. See if we can get him closer to $10 million. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. If we can get him down to where it makes sense, I'm good with it. Because again, getting younger doesn't always mean getting better. You know, I hope Root ends up being the next Aaron Donald, because if so, that means the Falcons are probably going to be a very, very good team in the future. But we don't know. He could end up being, you know, the next Pierre Jerry. You know, you never know. Could end up being the next Tack McKinley. You don't know until you know. So it's an argument to be had on both sides, just like Kyle Pitts. You know, it's an argument to be had on both sides. Coach says the talent we have standing behind Grady is on the same level as the production he gave us the last 4 years. So what's upside of keeping him? I don't know if I can necessarily agree with that at this point, Coach, because again, like, Root showed some flashes, but I can't say that he was on the same level as Grady. Because to me, from when I saw the field, he wasn't. You know, he wasn't. Grady still, you know, when you look at the, you know, for you guys who like analytics, when you look at the analytics charts of the defensive tackles, Grady was on the plus side. You know, he was on the plus side. And that says something, that he's still able to win those one-on-one matchups this year. He was still able to win the one-on-one matchups. Now, a year older, I don't know. He might not be as high up on that chart in the 2025 range. And, you know, that's why we do talk about it. That's why we do discuss it. Antoine says, keep Grady and let him retire a Falcon for life. Millie Mills says, just make sure Grady gets to a contender. But like Coach said, move on from him. It's been time. Art says, Father Time is creeping. Tay says, they say Rook is his replacement, Todd. Yeah, I'm sure he is. I'm sure that Terry Fontenot and the crew, they drafted him to replace Grady Jarrett. No doubt about that. And we finally saw Rook start to get in the game. I think after week 5, he started playing, and He ended up going on injured reserve, so we kind of got cheated out on seeing, you know, him develop throughout the year. But yeah, I think on this, what I'm seeing here, I think it looks like most of y'all are saying get rid of him. Coach is saying the 7th round is good enough for Grady. I think he'll definitely would pull more than a 7th rounder. Dirty Dan says we got some young talent that was injured, so he could help train them if he restructures his deal. But if not, maybe trade him if we could make better moves. I'm thinking if they can't come to like some kind of contract, I guess resolution, I think the chances would be pretty high that they would trade him. I don't see the Falcons wanting to go with a $20 million cap hit for Grady next year, especially consider their cap situation. You know, they're going to have to do some things to create cap space. Now, I have seen people online on Twitter say, well, the Falcons are right back in cap hell like we were when Matt and Julio left. That's not true. You know, the Falcons, trust me, the Falcons can, I don't know if easily is the correct word, but the Falcons are able to restructure some contracts and get themselves at least $30 million in cap space. We didn't have that flexibility after Matt and Julio left, but we can do that now. You know, you can restructure AJ's contract, you can restructure Chris Lindstrom's contract, you can restructure Jesse Bates' contract, and you can, I guess I'll use it easily now. If you were to do that, you easily get yourself 30 plus in cap space. And then there's also the option of trading Kyle Pitts. There's also the option of trading Grady Jarrett. So it's nothing like it was when we were in quote unquote cap hell after Matt and Julio left. We're not in cap hell right now either, because no matter what they do to create cap space this offseason, in 2026, hey man, we're gonna have a shitload of money. Excuse me, I mean a shitload of money. So we're fine. And then you're still going to have Michael Penix. You're going to have a few more years before you got to worry about Michael Penix's massive contract. From my experience, and I could be situationally incorrect here in some instances, but from my experience, man, as long as you don't have like a mega quarterback contract on your roster, you're really not in a bad cap situation. You know, we do got the Kirk Cousins contract still here for one more year where it's really going to hurt us bad. But after that, we in business. We're gonna be ready to rock. If Terry Fontenot is still here after the 2025 season, he's gonna have a lot of money to play with after that 2025 season. So we're fine. We're fine as far as our cap situation goes. We're totally fine. T. Terry says, keep Grady and restructure his contract to a 20-year, $20 million. Jay Black in the house. What's going on, Jay Black, man? Appreciate you coming through. Brian Cornelius in the building. What's up, Brian? So if he is willing to take the pay cut, he stays. If not, see what you can get for him. That's kind of where I'm at too. That's kind of where I'm at also. Let's see here. TG said he had issues at UGA. I think you're speaking of Pickens. Yeah, he did, man. He had some issues at UGA. So, you know, he could potentially be a gamble. Slim in the building. What's going on, Slim Dollar? Because people are saying to trade Grady. Well, if the Falcons are trying to get rid of him, then why would another team want him? I think they would restructure his contract for a short-term deal. I'm hoping they do something like that where it makes sense for the Falcons and it makes sense for Grady. We will know soon. We will know soon. And the thing about Grady also, like, I think it was after last year or 2 years in the offseason where Grady was like the new season's same shit. He sounded very defeated mentally with the team and the direction the team was going. It almost sounded like he was about to say, hey, man, y'all need to trade me. I'm sure y'all remember that very notorious interview that went viral, you know, as far as Falcons viral stuff, you know, when he was just visibly frustrated. But after this year, he was singing a totally different tone. He was like, hey, man, this season wasn't a failure. You know, we got things we can build on. I'm proud of what this team did. So he was singing a totally different tone. And Now, in my opinion, that's what a good leader is supposed to say. You keep your troops head held high. You know what I'm saying? And you don't give them a lot of hard criticism publicly. That's what a good leader is supposed to say. So I really commend him on how he handled that. It also lends me to believe like Grady might be willing to sit down with him and his agent and say, hey, man, let's do something where I take a pay cut and it works good for the team and it works good for me. That's kind of what I heard coming out of him in his post game interview at the end of the season. And that was an interview where a lot of the key players declined to talk to the team. Jesse Bates didn't want to talk to nobody after that. Also, I do remember Michael Penix, and he's a rookie, so you better go out there and say something, Penix. You ain't got no choice really. But Grady, he was front and center. He sat there and he took everybody to question. So to me, that sounds like a guy that's willing to try to help his franchise. But we'll see. Again, it's easy for me to say what Grady should do with his money because it's not my money. So Grady would definitely make that decision himself. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Antoine Wartime, so you're going to release it. We do not need nobody on the offense. We got everybody in place. Great wide receivers, great running backs, somewhat good tight end, and they get the quarterback. We need to work on our defense. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Antoine. I want them to spend because I really don't think the offense really needs much anything. You might get some depth pieces here. You might get a guy for depth on the offensive line. If you trade Tyler Algier, that's another guy. You may bring in another running back for depth purposes, but the offense really don't need much, man. Everything is pretty much in place on the offense. We need to spend the significant amount of resources that we have this offseason working on this defense without a shadow of a doubt. Russell says Raheem could very possibly be coaching for his job in 2025. I think that's very fair to say that. I doubt he's going to trade Grady and put his faith in the hands of rookies, young guys on the defensive line. Man, Russell, that's an excellent point, man. That's a point that I didn't even think about. You're right. And I think you are correct when you say he's coaching for his job. I think he's coaching for his job, and Fontenot is general managing. I don't even think that's a word for his job in 2025. And you make an excellent point. Again, I didn't even think about that. You doubt he's going to put his faith in the hands of rookies, young guys on the D line, and that's some of what I was saying earlier. Also, Rusty, like we want Root to be good. We want him to be the next Aaron Donald, but you don't know. He's unproven. At least okay, this is what I'm going to get from Grady. I'm not going to get the 2017 Grady anymore, but at least I know I'm going to have the 2023, 2024 Grady Jarrett. So, man, that's an excellent point. Tony in the house. What's going on, my brother? Just what's good, Toddy? Caught my son with his Falcons shirt inside out because they roasted him at practice. Oh, no, man. I said, damn, this is what it's come to, that my kids being shamed for following me, shaking my effing head. Dang. So even young Tony, getting roasted for being a Falcon. Hey, it's hard, man. It's hard. It's hard. Hopefully we'll start winning, and that way he can, start wearing his Falcons gear with pride and, joke free. Yeah, that's it. Unfortunately, that does come with the territory room for this team, man. I know not anytime, but I know a lot of times when I go out in like a Falcons hat or a Falcons shirt, man, I get roasted off. So I think we all do, room for the Falcons. All right, so I feel like Grady wants to stay here and retire here. That's the feeling I get also as well. So I don't know. I'm starting to see more pro Grady statements also. So I think we're starting to even that out. Also, shout out to Coach for the super chat. Appreciate that very much, Coach. Thank you as always for the support, my brother. Good looking out. It says check your inbox. Okay, so let me do that. Soul Shiesty Live. What's up, Soul Shiesty? Says Grady Jarrett is coming back. So Soul Shiesty said he's coming back. Brian Cornelius says maybe if he stays, he'll get some real help. Not another Yamada or Graham. That's another guy, Yamada, that you can save some money with. I didn't look at his cap situation, but without pulling it up. I think we incur about $6 million in dead cap. If we move past Yamada, and I think the cap savings would be around about $10 million, if memory serves me correctly. So just a moment here. Yeah, and see what's here. I'm trying to see what Coach said. He says, click on valuation. Oh, give me a second. Let me go to that valuation. Here we go. All right, so we got valuation pulled up, Coach, and you got to kind of direct me, Coach, on exactly what we're looking for on the valuation side for Grady Jarrett as well. So while we wait on that, I'll continue to go through the comments. Dirty Dan says, know if this means anything if our OC can't call good plays constantly, if we don't have a DC that can use the players right. So on both sides of the ball, we need someone who knows what they're doing. I totally agree on that. And let me know, Coach, what I'm looking for the valuation for Grady as well, because that's what I got pulled up on the screen right now. This looks like a chart here, so you got to let me know what I'm looking for on this, Coach. But while we wait on that, we're going to continue to go on. Somebody just mentioned, hold on, Coach is all the way down. The blue dot shows what his play reaches on pay scale. All that is below average. Okay, so let's go down to the chart here. This is the blue part right here. Okay, so if I'm reading this chart right, I ain't the smartest guy in the room, but I think I'm guessing this is the median point right here. Yeah, and Coach, let me know if I'm reading this wrong. And it looks like he's just below what his current pay scale dictates he should be doing on the field. So based on pay, it looks like he's just below that. If I am reading this correctly, which I do actually agree with, he is definitely no longer a $20 million cap hit defensive tackle at all. So if I am reading this correctly, I actually do agree with that. Also, Coach's note further down with the blue dots. Yeah, right here. I think that's blue. I don't got good eyes, but I'm guessing this is what you mean when you say the blue. Oh, right here. Okay, my bad. So here, give me a second here, y'all. I'm trying to figure out how I read through this. Okay, so this broken up into weeks. So based on this, it looks like, okay, I see it now. I got you. This is a good chart. So week 1, fresh Grady, they're saying, he pretty much played up on his contract. Week 2 went down a little bit. Week 3 dipped a lot. They're saying he's a $5 million defensive tackle. Week 3, week 4, $5 million. Week 5, $5 million. So he stayed at this dip down to 4 in week 6. Shot back up week 7 to about 11.5. Went down a little bit, came up a little bit, 5.9. So it really looks like there was only 1 week where he kind of played up to his contract. Here on week 15, he was at about 15 million and shot down a whole lot. God damn, 518,000. Final game of the year, he was about at 14 million. So based on this chart, he only had 1 game where he played up his contract. Had another game where he played pretty close to, 2 more games he kind of played pretty close to the contract, but overall well below the valuation based on the chart. And that's an excellent chart also as well. Coach said there's a game for each that I do see that. Jay Black says Grady is coming off an injury and that must be taken in consideration also. But yeah, based on this chart, it is definitely telling us he is no longer, and this is not breaking news, but he's no longer a $20 million cap hit defensive tackle. I wish this chart gave us an average of what his play was. I wish it averaged up all these right here and just let us know a cumulative average what his play based on his pay averaged out to be throughout the whole season. Jada says, what the app called, Coach? This is actually on Over the Cap, overthecap.com, and then you click on valuation, and it will show you this also. So that is a great chart also. Appreciate you sending that in, Coach. Miller said that chart explains a lot. He's just a defensive tackle. Let him go. We'll be all right. So Miller said, hey, man, the chart showed me everything I need to see. Go ahead and let him ride out. The production is nowhere near the pay. Coach says, so no, he takes a $4 million paycheck. So if he is not let, so no way he takes a $4 million paycheck. So if not, let him go. Yeah, I don't see him playing for more $4 million either, bro. Nah, he ain't gonna take. I don't think he's gonna take that big a pay cut at all. I know I wouldn't take that kind of pay cut. Yeah, so I definitely don't see him playing for $4 million. Yeah, so that's a good chart, man. I never looked at that. So yeah, that's some good information there. So, and the average is on the chart you first looked at with the line. So let me go back up with the line. Is this it right here? 8.5 million, Coach, right here in this area. Is this what it's saying he's worth? $8.5 million? I'm guessing so. So it looks like 8.5 if I'm looking at this correctly. Let me know if I got that right, Coach. Yeah, okay, you say yes. Okay. So the chart is saying he's about worth $8.5 million per year. That would be a major pay cut for Grady. Whether or not he takes it, I don't know. But like Mill say, the chart does tell us a great deal also. Definitely not, based on this chart, nowhere near the amount that he's being paid. Share the license. I hope the Falcons goes after Steve Wilks. I haven't saw them post anything about Wilks. I don't know if they're going to interview them. I assume he will. But speaking of Wilks, man, that gives me an opportunity to speak about the coaching hires. Well, not the coaching hires, but the potential interviews or the interviews we've already done. So let's start off with Lou Anarumo. He is scheduled to come in and interview, on Thursday, I believe. We've already interviewed Wink Martindale. Now, a little bit about Lou Anarumo. He was the defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. Let me just give y'all some information on him real quick, because again, he's interviewing on Thursday. I'm going to give y'all where the Bengals were ranked at defensively with him being the defensive coordinator. In 2019, they were ranked the 29th best defense in the league. In 2020, they were ranked the 26th best defense in the league. 2021, the Bengals were ranked the 18th ranked defense in the league. 2022, they were the 16th ranked defense in the league. 2023, 31st ranked defense in the league. And this most recent season in 2024, ranked 25th in the league. So they were pretty much ranked around the Falcons as far as defensive ranking goes. Now, one thing that has really kind of caught my attention of the guys that we're planning to interview. T. Terry says Lou drafted Jesse Bates and coached him. Rusty says trash. TG says heck no, not good enough. But y'all are rough, man. Y'all are a rough crowd, man. Y'all a really rough crowd. Well, one thing I went and did as we've been like the two guys that have been linked to interviews with us, I wanted to see like what kind of defense that they run. As far as Lou Anarumo, and I hope I'm saying his name right, he spoke about, when asked what kind of defense he runs or how would he categorize his defense. I'm going to read to y'all a quote that he said to define his defense or his his defensive strategies, schemes, formation, etc., etc., etc. So this is a direct quote from potential new Falcons defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. And I quote, he says, the league is nickel. Pass defense is now 70% of the time. To say you're a 4-3 or 3-4, everybody is doing the same 4-down stuff. And then you sprinkle it in, 5 down, 6 down, whatever you do. And we acquired the kind of players we felt like we needed to do it. So to translate that, he's pretty much saying, like, listen, everybody is pretty much running nickel for the most part. You know, he's pretty much saying this is a passing league. So 70% of the time, defenses are in a pass defense 70% of the time. Speaking on whether he's a 3-4 or 4-3 guy, he says it's not really relative based on the fact that, hey, everybody's in a nickel virtually most of the time in a game. So I guess he did not want to pigeonhole himself to be designated as a 3-4 or 4-3 guy. And that's coming from Lou Anarumo. So we really don't know specifically how he designates his defense as far as the formation goes. So let's go to our next guy, Wink Martindale. Baltimore defensive coordinator most recently, and he also coordinator for the Michigan Wolverines as well. Let's look at some of the things he did in Baltimore in 2018 as the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator. They had the #1 ranked defense in the NFL. That's a great thing. 2019, they had the 4th best defense in the NFL. 2020, they had the 7th best defense in the NFL. So very high mark so far. After 2020, it started to fall off for him as a coordinator. 2021, the Ravens had the 25th ranked defense overall. Then he went to the New York Giants more recently before the Wolverines. 2022, they were ranked 25th overall. In 2023, they were ranked 27th overall. So I'll say this: it looks like with Wink, when I guess we could say he had the talent or the players, he has shown that he's able to coach up a elite defense or top tier defense or top shelf defense, however we want to classify that. So he has shown that in the league with Baltimore, who they have a resume of being a defensive minded team. I went and looked at a little bit of tape on his defensive schemes and what he likes to do. But before I do that, if you do a Google search and you ask Google, hey, what does Wink Martindale do defensively? This is what you get from Google. It says Wink Martindale's defensive scheme is known for being aggressive and blitz heavy. He's known for using exotic blitz packages to confuse offenses and flood the line of scrimmage. It also says key components of Martindale's defense. Blitzing. Martindale's defenses are known for aggressive use of blitzings, nickel and dime packages. So that kind of corresponds with the other guy just said. Communication, stopping and run, edge rushers. Martindale's defense features powerful, fast edge rushings. So a little background on his defense. Now, what I saw myself, from the little bit of time that I took a look to see what kind of defense he was employing, I saw like a bunch of 2-down lineman formations. Like I saw him run a lot of 2-5-4 schemes, 2-down linemen and 5 guys behind them and then 4 guys protecting the overall back end. I saw a lot of nickel and dime, as it said here on the Google search. I also saw some iterations of the 3-4. You know, I saw every now and then you would see a traditional 3-4 package come in, 3-man fronts. You know, again a bunch of nickel, and I also saw him sending, as Google said, sending 5 and 6 guys pretty frequently. You know, I think it's fair to say that he's very, very aggressive when it comes to blitzing. You saw him trying to confuse quarterbacks a lot with pre-snap alignments, who's coming, who's staying. I saw a bunch of times where he will have 8 guys on the line of scrimmage and he's sending every damn body. You know what I mean? You only got one safety back there protecting the back end. Can you do that with this year's Falcons defense? I don't know if we got the talent to do that. 2019, 2020 in Baltimore, that was a totally different talent level that he was able to employ those schemes with. So I don't know if he can be that aggressive with Atlanta's current crop of players, but needless to say, you know, he does do a lot of blitzing, and I can see the attraction for a guy like Martindale for the Falcons, who have struggled tremendously rushing the passer, you know, getting pressure on the passer. So between these two guys, I would put Wink as clearly the top candidate between these two guys. Again, he has shown that if he has the right players, he can give you an elite level defense. Lou Anarumo, it looked like just traditional Falcons defensive coordinators, ranked in the 20s, and you have occasional years where you ranked in the teens, 18, 19. So so far I would say between these two guys, Wink would be at the top of my list. So y'all feel free to let me know, you know, which guy would you prefer out of those two. Again, from what I know, they've only set up 2 interviews, and I'm sure they're going to have a multitude of different interviews coming out, you know, next week as well. But yeah, let me know what y'all think on that as well. Y'all tripping here in the chat. Styles says, get the linebacker edge rusher from the Bulldogs. Shout out to the UGA dogs in the house. Unfortunately, the Falcons tend to stay away from Georgia players. Alberto in the house. What's up, Alberto? Says, hey, Ty, they like Kyle Pitts. Are we being too hard on him for not having the right scheme for him? All they need is a short passes and not throwing at him in spots that are hard to catch. There could be some scheme associated with the disappointment of Kyle Pitts throughout his career so far with Atlanta. That could play a part in it. Also, a good bit of that could be on Kyle as well. You know, I think he has to get to a point where it's easy to trust him as a quarterback. And I think that's on him. You know, he got to make himself a guy that the quarterback will trust, because you have Michael Penix coming here, you had Kirk Cousins coming here, and with 2 different quarterbacks, you still didn't see a lot of targets going his way. You saw sprinkles of it through the midpoint of this year with Kirk, but even then, it wasn't like a heavily targeted tight end, like you would see from a Kelsey in his heyday, or current guy Brock Bowers. You know, so it can be a combination of both. Brian Cornelius says, not know who's rushing and who's dropping in the coverage. Sounds like us first half of the Washington game. Dirty Dan says, we don't have the talent to blitz that much. Heck, we couldn't get to the quarterback this year. That's what concerns me also. I don't think we have the talent. You look at them Baltimore guys that he had on that team, you know, he had some true dogs, some true studs. So that made life easier sending those kind of blitzes. But I think if he were to come here, he would try to do a better job disguising the blitzes, you know, trying to confuse quarterbacks and confuse offensive coordinators to hide the blitz. And once you go back and you look at the teams that he has been a defensive coordinator at, that's something that he did a lot. You know, he would bring a bunch. He had like 8-man fronts, put 8 guys in a box, or 8-man front. So you don't know who's coming, you don't know who's staying, you don't know if they're all going to drop back in coverage. You know, so I think we could see some of that with Atlanta. That kind of defense, I think, in my opinion, is going to be very dependent on your safeties. And luckily for us, we have a damn good safety in Jesse Bates. So I could see a lot of situations where Jesse Bates is sitting back there playing center field. And using his talent and his knowledge, to react on certain things that the opposing quarterbacks and opposing offensive coordinators could do. But I ultimately agree with you. I don't know. I don't think we had that kind of talent where we could just send all those guys and get to the quarterback or be able to not get beat for big plays. Yes, but y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Style said that's the 46 Bear D all out blitz. You must have a good safety. We got that already. Yes, as they say, great minds think alike. I said the same about Bates. We definitely got one of the best safeties in the league, so that would definitely be one advantage that we would have. My only concern about that though, if we don't have the talent overall, we could start off on fire as a defense. The first 2, 3, 4 weeks. And then once that tape gets out on us and teams start to adjust, would we be exposed for the lack of talent? And that leads me back to saying, man, we need to spend a lot of time, money, draft picks into building up this defense in the offseason. We really need to go defensive heavy in this draft, go defense heavy in free agency also. I'm really not concerned about offense. I think the offense is going to be good. I think the offense is going to be damn good. Penix, I ain't got to go through about it. Bijan, offense good, offense straight. Then you got a whole second year of Zach Robinson, so he'll potentially be a lot better than he was year one. So not really concerned about the offense. It's the defense that really concerns me on this team. We got to get more talented. Strapped Up says Wink would definitely be the guy so far. I do agree about that. Russell says Dennis Allen. No, don't know about Dennis Allen. I know I've heard that name mentioned a lot. Now, I will say this. I know that the guys on the higher level, the players and the professionals, I know they don't care. They're not as passionate. I shouldn't say don't care because that's a bad choice of words. I don't think they're as passionate about the New Orleans-Atlanta rivalry as those fans are. But I don't know. I don't know if we'll get to the point where we kind of got too much, New Orleans influence stuff on the team. I don't know about Dennis Allen, man. I ain't got no big preference, but I don't know. I kind of think we done reached our New Orleans quota. Especially when they didn't win no Super Bowl with these guys. It'd be different if they won a Super Bowl, So I don't know, man. I'm kind of a little reluctant on the Dennis Allen thing. And I do know he has some Georgia ties, Falcons ties, but we'll see. Who knows? They could hire him and he could be the guy that propels this defense to a Super Bowl. You never know. Dirty Dancers, neither. Need to interview more. I'm sure they're gonna interview a lot more guys. Excuse me. T. Terry says I like Wink. Russ says how many years in a row are we going to make the scheme excuse for Kyle? At what point in this organization do we just hold players accountable? You make a great point, man. That's kind of what Terry Fontenot was saying in his interview recently, man. Hey, some of this on us and some of this on Kyle. So he was kind of holding Kyle accountable a little bit in what he said. Coach says I find it funny fans want to get rid of a player who suck but cheap like Kyle, but keep who suck but expensive like Grady. Hey, that's a fair point, man. That's a very fair point. And a lot of that probably just comes with Grady being here so long. And we saw Grady, even though we lost the Super Bowl, he was arguably the best player on the field during the Super Bowl. So, you just got a lot of sentimental value built up in Grady that you really don't have built up in Kyle Pitts. We haven't even seen Kyle Pitts play a playoff game in Atlanta, much less a Super Bowl. Styles says Penix turned out to be outstanding pick. He saved general manager's job. He's going to be your best quarterback. He's going to be a beast of a quarterback. A+, go Burst. I hope so, man. Hey, for our sake, I hope he ends up taking Matt Ryan's crown as the greatest Falcons quarterback in history. Because if he's greater than Matt Ryan, I strongly believe he's going to bring at least one Super Bowl here, possibly multiple Super Bowls here. So I'm very, very hopeful on him. King Rich said if we have a solid zero tech that's real, all the D line needs to blitz that much, and that's the thing we are improving it. And as far as the zero tech goes, man, and hopefully that's something that they address in the draft. Also, we talked about that on the last show Sunday night. Some possible guys out of college that could probably fill that role. Miller Mel says, shit, I'm in Martinell's eyes, Jesse might be all he really needs. Everything else is just pieces to work with. Possibly. Yeah, hey, that's a good point. Possibly. Dogs rule 88. Go Dogs. Been saying on defense it's not always the X's and the O's, but the Jimmys and the Joes. Combination of both. That's a good point. Art says, yeah, I was more for Dennis Allen, but Wink sounds legit from what I'm hearing. I like what I've seen from Wink. I like his resume. I like that he's been able to consistently establish a top-rated defense. I know. Of course, you're never gonna satisfy everybody, but I know a big piece of concern with a large majority of the fan base was they wanted somebody with some defensive coordinator experience in this league, and he checks off that box. So that would be, I think, a plus in many of our fans' eyes. Antoine says, whoever we get, I hope he can help get us to the promised land. Me and you both. Russell says Dennis Allen's the nastiest coordinator. F the rivalry. I want to win. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. We will see. I haven't really did any research on Dennis Allen and what he was able to do. I think we done kind of picked on that New Orleans tree one too many times, though. We've been picking on that New Orleans tree a whole lot. For a team who didn't even win a Super Bowl, who didn't even get to a Super Bowl. I don't know. We shall see. Dogs rule 88. So Dennis Allen started here as defensive assistant, and his father played for us a few years. Yeah, I was well aware of that, and that's why I said he does have some Georgia and some Falcons ties. King says once you get a real zero tech that weight about 340 to eat blocks, the D line would be extremely better. That's why Grady has his best success next to Goldman and not next to David Onyemata. You got a lot of big guys coming out in the draft, man. Me and James were talking the other night about the guy from Kentucky. I think got a guy from Mississippi State coming out. Georgia has a guy, Zamir, coming out. So if we can get a position to grab one, you might see the Falcons do that maybe in the second round, or the third round possibly. Dirty Dan says Dennis Allen is the same one who can control Jameis Winston. The infamous when they lined up and supposed to been killing the clock and ran the play on us. Again, who knows who they'll hire, but I'm just kind of ready to get out that New Orleans boat, man. It's not so much about the rivalry for me. It's just you continue to pick front office personnel and players from the same team who ultimately didn't even win a Super Bowl on that team. And our general manager came from New Orleans, Onyemata, Kane Ellis, at some point it's kind of okay, it's not like this. It's not like this is the Kansas City Chiefs or the Patriots in their heyday. It would be different for me if we were going from guys who consistently won Super Bowls. So, you got a pedigree there that says, hey, this coach and these players in this front office, they knows what it takes to win. And it's not just only a New Orleans thing. It could be anybody. It's like when Arthur Smith came in and he started picking everybody from Tennessee. I kind of just got a Tennessee fatigue. It's okay, I'm good. Let's stop with Tennessee. I done reached my personal quota of seeing us bring in guys from Tennessee. So that I'm really with that with any team, unless it's a team that has shown that they can win Super Bowls. Outside of that, once you get to a certain amount of players or personnel, I just get a little fatigued. King Rich says Grady's the same reason some of these players came here. They sent Grady to recruit them. Yes, King, you absolutely correct. And we talked about that early in the broadcast. You know, Grady, a lot of the key free agents that we acquired, a lot of them came here because of Grady Jarrett. You know, he was always the guy at dinner, the guy on the phone, the guy sending the text messages, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, so you make a great point. Art says, I hope Penix ends up being better than Matt at ISAW. So let's hope so. You know, that would be good things for us if that is the case. Alberto said, I hope they let Todd Bowles go so we can get him at the DC. Possibly, man, possibly. If he wants to be a defensive coordinator at this point in his career, possibly, or he may pursue a head coach, another head coaching job. It's like Robert Saleh. You know, a lot of people want us to get him as a DC, but I don't at this point. I don't think that's going to happen because I think he wants to be a head coach again. So we'll see. You know, a lot of stuff we just gotta see how this stuff plays out, man. Styles of Kyle is healthy now. For a third or fourth round pick, let him go. Hey, you save $11 million if you do that. Jada says Bates gonna be the highest paid safety. Possibly when he renew his contract with Atlanta, if he does, you know, stay with Atlanta. See here, let's catch up on a few more comments. Coach says no one else from the Aints. Hate that even a single player coach came from there. I hate them that much. I don't care. I'm not gonna read it. I get your point though, Coach. I definitely get your point. Keith Simmons in the house. What's going on, Keith? What's happening? King Rich says any real defensive coach come in and find out we don't have a zero tech would lose his it because you need that in the scheme. I do definitely agree with that. Brian says the only one who showed any real promise from the Aints is Caden Ellis. After that, your modern Street. I forget about Street. You're right about that. Yamada came his first year and he gave us a good season, but after that, man, it just hadn't been there. Not saying that he's bad, but just not really been what we hoped he would be, you know. So again, I kind of hit that New Orleans fatigue point. You know, but regardless of what we do, you know, I think the main priority is to come in and get some good, talented players on the roster. So whoever is the new defensive coordinator, they can be set up for the best amount of success that they possibly can. Because again, going back to Martinell, he's shown like, hey, if I got the players, I can get y'all a top 5 defense. If I got the players, I get your top 10 defense. You know, I can do my part if the players are there. The other guy, Lou Anarumo, not so much. Not so much. I had planned on doing the final season player grades, man, but I got up here and started running my mouth, and it's almost been 2 hours. So unfortunately, I won't be able to do that. But we will do the final player grades sometime very soon, y'all. Maybe sometime this week, sometime next week. We will do it very soon. I do anticipate over the next few days, the next week, couple weeks, we will interview more guys. And as we interview more guys, that'll give us more things to come on here and talk about. So I'm gonna go ahead and thank you guys for your time, for your conversation, for your engagement. As always, I really appreciate everybody coming in and you know, just talking these Falcons with me, man. I tell y'all all the time, y'all are my therapists. Because dealing with this team, you need some kind of therapy or some type of mental stability, or you need an outlet. And you know, y'all definitely, you know, provide all that for me. So I definitely always thank you guys. I do appreciate it. Not sure when we'll be back. Today is Tuesday, so look out for the eye test tomorrow night at 10 p.m. I'm sure I'll probably be on there. But until then, I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Y'all be good. God bless. Gone.